tell you about this listener that we've come in contact with, and they played her some of my music, and my music had been an important part of this woman's life. You know, Kathy's story, speaking of the good, the bad, and the ugly, she unfortunately was subject to more bad and ugly than good in her life. From a very young age, she was a victim of childhood abuse, unimaginable abuse that no child should ever have to be subject to. And as a result, in her mind, she just didn't see any worth in herself. She just thought, this is my lot in life, this is the best it's gonna get, I may as well just live this life as a victim. Drug abuse became a problem. So this radio station somehow got involved in helping to rescue this woman from a trafficking situation that she was in. And she was safe for the first time in her life. She was getting clean off a drug. She had a one-bedroom apartment that she was able to come home to and be in and safe. And I was just so moved by this woman's story and the thought that my music had somehow helped her in her journey that I asked the radio station if I could visit her. And they said, yeah. And so I canceled my next trip and we drove to her one-bedroom apartment. And I sat in her one-bedroom apartment, I brought my guitar, and I met her cat, and we sat on this couch and I just sang her songs. And at one moment I was singing, I think it was Amazing Grace, and I looked over at her and she's just bawling. She's crying, I mean, like, just messy crying. And I stopped and apologized. I'm like, hey, I didn't come here to make you cry. And she said something really powerful. She said, you know, don't apologize. She said, for many years of my life, I couldn't cry if I wanted to, because I had removed myself from all the pain that I was experiencing to where I just felt nothing for years. And she said, so now when I cry, it's a good cry, because it tells me that I'm feeling something again, and that tells me that God is healing what used to be a deep wound. And I walked out of that apartment, and on my way to the airport, I started writing the words, when you see broken beyond repair, I see healing beyond belief. When you see too far gone, I see one step away from home. When you see nothing but damaged goods, I see something good in the making. I'm not finished yet. When you see wounded, God sees mended, right? And that's what inspired me to write that song, and I'll never forget that one.
When you see broken beyond repair, I see healing beyond belief. When you see too far gone, I see one step away from home. How many times can one heart break? It was never supposed to be this way. Look in the mirror, but you find someone you never thought you'd be. Oh, but I can still recognize the one I love in your tear-stained eyes. I know you might not see it now, so lift your eyes to me.
Jordan Feliz is one of the hottest Christian pop artists of the day. I sat down with Jordan recently for a casual conversation. We talked about his music, his walk, his hair, his hats, and his beloved. Enjoy. In your wildest dreams, would you have ever expected this? I mean, to be so, it's like all of a sudden it's just gotten huge. Would you have ever expected that?
No, not even remotely. I think, you know, it's funny, you do music for so long, you know, and I've been doing this, I've been touring since I was 17. And so I think you get through like these phases of like just never expecting anything, you know? But man, like all of a sudden it's just like the Lord just opens doors, and here you are, and it's, I don't know, I always tell people, like, I just bleed thankfulness every day, because it's just an honor to be here, you know, and to be in this state, in this situation. It's been incredible.
We're going down to the river, down to the river, down to the river to pray. Yeah, yeah. Let's get washed by the water, and rise up in amazing grace. Let's go down, down, down to the river. Let's go down, down, down to the river. Oh, down. Gonna go down in amazing grace. Gonna go down in amazing grace.
In this episode, we sat down with Mike Weaver of the famed Big Daddy Weave Christian worship group at a recent concert. You'll hear him share his heart of worship ministry, the love of what he does, and a special memorial to his father. Please enjoy. Well, it's such a joy to be able to sit down with you. And can I call you Mike?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Viewers, back to the very beginning
Uh-oh.
of how this Big Daddy Weave journey started.
I was born a baby.
No, wait,
I
you
was
don't have to go that far back.
No, Big Daddy Weave got together in college, 1998, in the University of Mobile, little Mobile, Alabama. And the very first time we ever got together, we put together a little jam session. 15 minutes into playing together for the first time, somebody wanders by and goes, "Man, you guys, you need to come open up for this other group on campus, man." And we were like, "Sweet, we've only been together for 15 minutes. And we already have our first gig. Things are looking up, you know." And then they asked us the question. They said, "What name do we put on the flyer?" You know, and you know, that's the moment where I wish we just would have stopped and prayed, you know. But we were just being silly. And you know, if you're my size in South Alabama, you are Big Daddy. Like that's your nickname. My last name's Weaver, so Weave came from that whole thing. And so at first, it was even worse. We were Big Daddy Weave and the institution, right? I said, "Tell them we're Big Daddy Weave and the institution." The moral to this entire story is be careful what you call your group, because you never know where God's going to take this thing. So you could be answering the question 20 years later, like, what is Big Daddy Weave, you know? But it's amazing, and people for a long time were kind of like, no, they would try to make this spiritual thing out of it. God is Big Daddy, you know, and he's weaving us together into the tapestry of the church. And I was like, I don't know. I think maybe the last guy who called God Big Daddy might have got smoked, you know what I mean? And it's like, and that's not the case though, because God began to unpack that after time for us. Because God he can do exceedingly abundantly more than we ask or think. We have seen him do that. He has blown our minds. He's big. The Holy Spirit enables us to cry, "Abba, Father," which actually means it's daddy. It's like Aramaic for daddy, you know? And this sense of like the fact that music can cross the divisions that we have created in church. I think after all this time, we've finally discovered our purpose, which is to help call together the bride of Jesus. So it's a type of weave. It's a thing that he's bringing together. And he is not as picky as we are about things, I've found. Man, he will look into people and he will find the best stuff in them. I love that's who he is.
Praise your name, Jesus.
That's who he is.
Yeah. So when we get to heaven, who's the second person you want to see, and what would you say to them?
This is really fresh right now.
Sorry.
It's my dad. My dad went to be with the Lord on Christmas Day.
I'm sorry.
No, and I am sorry that, you know, he's not with me right now. But I try not to think about that part too much, because I'm really glad about who he's with, you know.
Amen.
The number one person that you talked about that we're going to see when we get there. My dad was a great man. He was the greatest living example of Jesus to me. He would go missing to us at some point, and we'd find out that he was in his closet on his face praying for us. So when we see Jesus move, I know that we drink from wells that we didn't dig, man.
Abba, I belong to you. I'm yours, yeah, God. Abba, I belong to you, even when nobody's watching. You're more real than the skin on my bones. Yes, you are. Yes, Lord. You're more real than the song on my tongue. My tongue. Yeah. Your thoughts define me. You're inside of me, yeah. You are my reality.
Come up with For King of Country, the name itself? I
Yeah.
understand that wasn't the original name.
No, it was very, the original name was very uncreative. It was just Joel and Luke, and my name went first because I'm the oldest brother. No, we'd come up with a load of awful band names, but we always knew we wanted something that had meaning and heart, and in the 21st century it's sort of hard to find something that, you know, with the internet and how we're globalizing, something that a band has already not named themselves.
Right.
And so we were down to the wire. We work on our first record, and I'd come into the studio with this idea of having the word King associated with the name. And it was actually our producer at the time that swung around his chair and said, "Hey, remember that old mantra for King and Country hundreds of years ago? And it was this charge, this belief." And we kind of looked at each other and we thought, where the music was heading sonically, us being Australian, part of the British Commonwealth, it just felt very natural. So we really haven't looked back. Needless to say, it was available.
So
There
what
were
was
no other
what
bands.
was the other name there was?
Oh.
Come on, you got to tell us.
All the King's Men.
No,
was
there
the
was,
other-
there was another one.
The bad name was Osterville.
And explain what that
Yeah, Osterville is a name that we're originally from Australia. We live in Nashville. The official abbreviation for Australia is Oz. People call Nashville, if you're from there, they call it the Ville. And so we decided to put a 2 in the middle. It was Oz to Ville, and it didn't last very long.
No,
Short-lived.
yeah, very much so.